There's a reason they don't teach this in schools. A reason religious institutions avoid it. A reason this knowledge was banned, burned, and buried for centuries. Because if you truly understood what Ibn Arabi discovered, you wouldn't need their systems anymore. You wouldn't need their validation. You wouldn't need their permission to access the divine. And that makes you dangerous. Ibn Arabi was called the greatest heretic in Islamic history by some. Others called him Sheikh al-Akbar, the greatest master. The difference? Those who feared what he taught versus those who understood it. So what was this secret so dangerous that scholars tried to erase his books? So threatening that even today, many religious authorities warn against reading him. He wrote, "Between you and God, there is no intermediary except your own illusion of separation." Let that sink in. No priest, no institution, no ritual, just you and direct divine connection. And the only thing blocking it is a belief you were taught. The first secret they keep from you is this: you're not trying to reach God. You are already an expression of God. Ibn Arabi taught Wahdat al-Wujud, unity of being, not as philosophy, but as direct reality. He said, "There is nothing in existence but God. Everything you see, including yourself, is God manifesting in infinite forms." This isn't pantheism. Everything is God in a physical sense. This is something deeper. He meant that the only real existence belongs to God, and everything else exists only through that singular divine existence. You're not a creation separate from the Creator. You're the Creator experiencing limitation, experiencing forgetfulness, experiencing the journey back to remembering. Why is this dangerous? Because if this is true, then you don't need someone else to tell you what God wants. You don't need to earn divine love. You already are it. You don't need to be saved. You were never lost. You don't need permission to access sacred truth. It's inside you. Every system built on "we have the truth and you need us to get it" collapses when people realize the truth is already within them. Ibn Arabi understood exactly why his teaching was threatening. He wrote, "The masses are kept in ignorance not to protect them, but to control them." Because a person who knows their divine nature cannot be ruled by fear. Think about how institutions maintain power. Religious institutions say, "God is distant, you are sinful, you need our rituals and our priests to bridge the gap." Educational systems say, "Knowledge comes from experts, authorities, credentials. Don't trust your own direct experience." Social structures say, "You need validation from outside yourself. Your worth is determined by what others think of you." But Ibn Arabi's teaching destroys all of that. He said, "The one who knows themselves knows their Lord directly. They need no mediator, no permission, no external validation." This is why mysticism has always been suppressed. Not because it's false, but because it's too true. And truth makes people free, and free people are hard to control. Ibn Arabi taught something that modern quantum physics is just beginning to understand. Reality is not fixed. It's constantly being created by consciousness. He wrote, "The cosmos is imagination within imagination. What you perceive as solid reality is actually thought taking form." This wasn't metaphor for him. He believed literally that the world you experience is a projection of consciousness. Your consciousness, specifically. He said, "If you change your inner state, your outer world must change, because the outer is only a reflection of the inner." Why don't they teach this? Because if people understood that their beliefs and perceptions literally shape their reality, they would stop being victims. They would stop accepting limiting narratives. They would stop believing, that's just how things are. Modern science is catching up. Quantum mechanics shows that observation affects reality at the subatomic level. Neuroscience shows that your brain literally filters reality based on your beliefs, showing you evidence that confirms what you already think. But Ibn Arabi knew this 800 years ago, and he taught that you can consciously reshape your reality by reshaping your consciousness. This might be the most revolutionary teaching. Suffering is not inevitable. Pain happens, but suffering is a choice created by resistance. Ibn Arabi wrote, "The one who accepts divine will experiences no suffering, only experience. Suffering comes from wanting reality to be different than it is." He didn't mean passive acceptance or spiritual bypassing. He meant something deeper. Understanding that everything that happens is part of a perfect unfolding, even when you can't see the perfection. He said, "What you call tragedy is often mercy in disguise. What you call blessing is often a test. But the soul that trusts God's wisdom finds peace in all circumstances." Why is this kept secret? Because institutions thrive on your suffering. They need you to believe you're broken, incomplete, in need of fixing. Because then you'll keep coming back, keep paying, keep seeking outside yourself for solutions. But Ibn Arabi's teaching says, you're not broken. You never were. You're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, and the moment you accept that, suffering dissolves. Ibn Arabi taught that what we call death is not an ending, but a transition to a more real state of existence. He wrote, "You fear death because you identify with the body, but you are not the body. You are the consciousness that animates it, and consciousness cannot die." He described death as removing the veil. In life, you see through the limited perspective of the ego, the body, the mind. In death, those limitations dissolve, and you see reality as it actually is. He said, "Death is not what happens to you. Death is what happens for you. It's the soul's graduation from the school of physical existence." Why keep this secret? Because fear of death is the ultimate control mechanism. If you're afraid of dying, you're easier to control. You'll accept limitations, follow rules, avoid risks, stay small. But if you truly understood that death is just a doorway, that consciousness is eternal, that you are fundamentally indestructible, you would live differently, boldly, freely, without fear. Ibn Arabi taught that direct mystical experience is higher than religious law. He wrote, "The Sharia, religious law, is the boat. The tariqah, spiritual path, is the journey. But the haqiqah, ultimate truth, is the destination." Most people stay in the boat their whole lives, thinking the boat is the destination. He didn't reject religious practice. He practiced Islam devoutly, but he insisted that rituals are means, not ends, tools for awakening, not the awakening itself. He said, "The one who knows God directly no longer needs intermediaries, not because religion is false, but because they've reached what religion points toward." This is why he was called a heretic, because he suggested that direct experience of the divine is accessible to anyone, regardless of their religious credentials or institutional approval. So how do you access what they've kept hidden? Ibn Arabi gave specific practices. Practice 1. Khalwa, solitude. Spend time alone in silence, away from the noise of society and its programming. In silence, your true nature begins to reveal itself. Practice 2. Muraqaba, watchfulness. Observe your thoughts without identifying with them. Notice that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness witnessing thoughts. This breaks the spell of mental conditioning. Practice 3. Dhikr, remembrance. Whether you use a religious phrase or simply return to presence repeatedly throughout the day, the practice is the same. Remember that you are more than your ego, more than your roles, more than your story. Practice 4. Service without expectation. Serve others not to earn spiritual points or divine favor, but because when you truly see that all beings are expressions of the One, serving others is serving yourself. Practice 5. Question everything. Don't believe something just because an authority said it. Test it in your own experience. Ibn Arabi said, "Truth that comes from others is borrowed. Truth that comes from direct experience is owned." Ibn Arabi warned that accessing these secrets comes with a cost. Not a price you pay to learn them, but a consequence of knowing them. He said, "Once you know the truth, you cannot unknow it. You will see through the illusions that others still believe. You will not fit in. You will be called dangerous, crazy, heretical. And you must be willing to bear this loneliness for the sake of truth." This is why many people, even when shown the secret, turn away from it. Because the truth is uncomfortable. It requires you to let go of victim stories, limiting beliefs, and the comfort of blaming others for your life. The truth makes you responsible, powerful, free. And that's scarier than staying trapped. For centuries, they could burn books, silence mystics, control information. But something has shifted. Ibn Arabi's teachings are now accessible to anyone with internet access. People are waking up faster than institutions can suppress them. The gatekeepers are losing their power because the gates are dissolving. This is why you're seeing this video right now, not by accident. Because something in you knows it's time to remember what they tried to make you forget. Here's the deepest secret of all, the one Ibn Arabi spent his entire life trying to convey. You are not a human being having occasional spiritual experiences. You are infinite consciousness having a temporary human experience. The real you, the awareness reading these words right now, is eternal, unchanging, divine. It was never born and will never die. It cannot be harmed, cannot be diminished, cannot be lost. Everything you've been seeking outside yourself, love, peace, purpose, truth, is already what you are. Not what you have, not what you'll become, but what you've always been. The entire spiritual journey is remembering this. Not learning something new, but unlearning everything false you were taught. You now know what they didn't want you to know. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you forget it, go back to sleep, return to the comfortable illusion? Or will you let it shatter everything you thought you knew and rebuild your life on truth instead of borrowed beliefs? Ibn Arabi's final words to his students were these: "I have shown you the door, but only you can walk through it. And once you do, you can never return to the prison you once called home." The secret is out. The door is open, and you're standing at the threshold. The only question left is, will you step through?